Go ahead.
Please, this is your opportunity to ask the questions you want about vision, anything. You ready? Otherwise, I have to pick on you and say, ask a question. Yes, great, I love that.
I've been wearing glasses since I was in 5th grade, and my eyesight just gets worse every single year. And it's gotten to the point where I have to wear hard contacts now. And I was wondering if the use of contacts and using your glasses makes your eyesight worse or helps in the long run.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why do you wear hard contacts?
Because I have astigmatism in both my eyes.
And do you wear them all the time?
Every day.
Also, you know that contacts make you see better if you are nearsighted, but worse if you are farsighted, or if you had a cataract surgery and they remove your lens, which is a very interesting thing. Look, the question is, how many diopters do you have right now?
How many what?
Diopters.
The correction, the curvature of the lens is measured by numbers.
Yeah.
And so how much correction, is it? Are you vague? Yes.
5, 6, 7.
I think it was -6, like you said.
-6. So the warning that I want to give you is as soon as it becomes -7, I consider it, and I think most ophthalmologists consider it, as high myopia. At this point, you're okay. But as soon as you have -7, it's called high myopia. The problem with that is that the eyeball becomes long, and it is prompt to much insult and injuries, which means the main thing, you could have retinal detachment, which they can attach, but it's not a great thing. But there could be all kinds of problems, bleeding of the eye, cataracts, things of that nature. That's why I really think that you should do eye exercises. The criticism I have of the medical profession, they have no physiotherapy for the eyes, comes to think of it. And they don't give you any hope that you can see better. Well, I can tell you for sure you can. And maybe you can stay here and talk a word or two. I just wanted to see, this is a normal lens. Do you see it? See it, right? This is mine after 5 cataract surgeries. See that? Normal versus mine. My lens is 99% scar tissue. It's as if you took glass and stepped on it, and the light dispersed to all pieces. I used to read Braille, and my parents were deaf. Can you imagine that? That basically I was the blind kid of deaf parents. They all liked me because my mother would sew with her friends and chat with her friends, and I couldn't see what they're doing with their hands. I could hear them speaking deaf voices like ba, 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 like this. But I would take my Braille book, sit down, and just read. Okay? Today I drive. How about that difference? From reading Braille to driving. Now my vision is not perfect. Used to be basically less than 1%. Now it's close to 70%. So it's not as good as your vision with your contacts, by no means. But it may be better than your vision without your contacts. Okay? And what I want to tell you is that there's no doubt in my mind that all that holds you from seeing better is the concept that you don't see better. I had a wonderful t-shirt, I lost it. I really want to buy another one. Maybe someone of you can find it for me in the internet. It's written there, my karma ran over my dogma. So the karma of humanity is that we listen to the dogma of the medical profession. And if I listened to it, I would still exercise my blind certificate that the state of Israel gave it to me for good. Right? So the point is, what I want to tell you is that you can improve your vision, not quickly, slowly. Change the direction from having a more long eyeball to a shorter. My first recommendation for you is stop wearing the contacts, wear glasses, put them in your pocket, start to work diligently with my exercises. To my 6-day eye class, people come from all over the world. Even for my 3-day workshops, people come from all over the country, and one came from England. But basically, everywhere there's a world, they come to me to practice this. And that is because it's not being appreciated or given by the medical profession. With one exception, doctors that I met like my work. I mean, ophthalmologists, they wouldn't admit it to their other ophthalmologists because it's not safe to say it, but they love what I did with their clients. And when it comes into holistic doctors, I just was now invited, and I wish I could be there, but I'll be there on video, to the European Conference of Integrative Medicine with 1,000 physicians. So there are those who are open, including your courageous professor, who I think is a fantastic practitioner of biofeedback. I invited him to my class. What? Well, it's the least I could say about you. You're fantastic. Except when you injure your leg, yeah? But basically, I would say you definitely can improve your vision, and it's only a matter of faith and belief.
Can I add one piece to that?
Yeah.
I think one thing I have done, because it takes lots of practice, and I'm lazy, I shouldn't say that, but I still wear contacts. However, what I do is when I go to the ophthalmologist and when they measure my eyes, they always say to give me perfect vision, 20/20 vision. However, I've observed that my eyes move back and forth, that sometimes my eyes see, whatever it is, my focus is not as good, and other times it's better. I don't know if you ever noticed that. So what I then do is I want it basically a diopter or a half diopter less than the optimum prescription. So I'm really seeing 20/40 when I leave the office, and that allows my eyes to automatically correct at least a little bit. And at least that's what I have done for me. And I know that Meir's practices, whenever we do the palming, when we do the other practice he did on the tape, my vision afterwards, I see better. It's just mind-boggling. And remember our eyes, and you have still younger eyes than me, only a little tiny bit, a few years, that our structure can changes. Remember, children in Singapore, 80% are not myopic. And the only major reason is that they only live in worlds in a small room. They watch screens this close. They only see the walls nearby. They don't go outside. And so their vision is really, the eyes develop at this range. And so they become really myopic.
And it's beyond that. You go to the optometrist office, and they have 20 people in the waiting room, and they ask you, do you see better with this, better with that, better with that? And eventually you say, yeah, this is how I see better. You leave the room, they give you new glasses, and whoop, you sometimes become giddy. The world is too sharp, or you don't see well with it. Then you give a call to the optometrist and say, get used to your glasses. How do you get used to your glasses? By weakening your eyes. So every time you get a new prescription, your eyes are proving that very fact. It becomes weaker and weaker. The best example I can give you is a little bit different. My own daughter, my 2 kids were born with cataracts, just like me. Imagine, I'm a son of deaf parents. I was always known to be the son of the blind kid of Ida and Abraham in Tel Aviv. And then my kids were born with cataracts. And my daughter, I'll never forget it, went to UCSF, to her ophthalmologist, and first she had to visit an optometrist. Now, they changed an optometrist on her, and she felt very comfortable with one wonderful male optometrist, but was a new, nervous optometrist. And she looked at her eyes, and she didn't see well with her vision, so she gave her higher and higher prescription. Unlike yours, it's a plus. Yours is minus, right? And so, because your own eyes are like a magnifying lens. You see very well from near, but not so well from far, So she gave her higher and higher prescription, and her vision was 40% of normal, when before it was 85% of normal. And so I arrived there after the optometrist check, and I put my daughter on my shoulders because my ex-wife was very upset about it. I put a patch on her strong eye and have her weak eye look. That's very important for you to know. This is one of the things which are really wrong with our thoughts. And that is, all the time we try to develop what is strong in us. What we have to develop is what is weak in us, mentally and physically. The best example I can have is that polio patients normally are weaker in one limb. So physiotherapy teaches them to work with the strong limb. And you can understand physiotherapy. They want them to cut vegetables, to drive with the one limb they have that is not paralyzed. I always, from the age of 17, worked with their weak limb. And sometimes I got 60%, 65% improvement. Sometimes only 2%. 10 years later, most of the polio patients got what's called post-polio syndrome, which is returning to polio symptoms, strokes, heart disease, out of the effort of overusing the strong part of the body. But by balancing the way that they work with the weaker part of the body, I postponed those symptoms by 30 more years. Now, returning to my daughter. I put a patch over her strong eye and got her to look with the weak eye from UCSF, from the 5th floor, which was the ophthalmology floor, down at cars, at houses. She went to her doctor, and without glasses, she already saw 70% of normal vision. With glasses, 40% with the optometrist's office. And he started to kid with her. He started to look at her eye, and he says, "Oh, I'm seeing that you have boyfriends." And she was 10 years old, and she yelled at him, "I don't have boyfriends." And then, "What do you like to eat?" "Pizza." "What do you think about the pizza in cafeteria?" "Pizza." And so he was like an uncle that she was yelling at, you know, how 10-year-old could be with uncles, yeah? And she saw 20/20, first time in her life at the age of 10, with glasses, right? Because she doesn't have a natural lens. So what I'm trying to tell you, the examination looks objective. It's anything but objective. And I can tell you again, I'm working on the most impossible cases in the world. Like now, I'm working on somebody who came to me all the way from Portugal for 20 sessions, each one for 4 hours. And we work very hard. It's not always easy, but we're getting some results for somebody where I reduce her blindness, because not every day is the same. So what Dr. Peper told you, which is so important, is that you are never the same. Your digestion is not the same. Your respiration is not the same. Your circulation is not the same. You're not the same. Socrates already said that. So you need to always accept the fact that things are not carved in stones, including your vision.
And when people work with people who had stroke or brain injuries and they lose control over their, let's say, one of their arms or legs, then it has to be contracted like this. We then teach people normally to really become more functional just with that one hand or whatever. In superb research by Ed Taub and others, they do it totally differently. What they do is they tie up, and it's based on animal studies, the functional hand that works, and now the person has 23 hours a day, has to somehow force themselves to use the arm that doesn't seem to work. When they do that, they regain function completely in a couple of months.
Correct.
It is mind-boggling. This comes from monkey studies where you first cut the neurons, and these monkeys no longer use the arm. You tie up the good limb, and they do it. It is not done everywhere. It is the best word for treatment, paradoxically. Totally counterintuitive, where you say, how can I make you the best quadriplegic? No, how can I make you function even awkwardly?
Isn't it something? Yeah, I agree, and I talk about that exam all the time. But I'll tell you something else. Stroke patients often lose vision due to stroke, visual strokes. And you know what stroke is, that not enough blood or too much blood gets into the brain and destroys many cells. So you'd say, well, that's permanent. Part of the brain is gone. Baloney. You can use other parts of the brain to compensate for the parts which are gone. And they found that at any time, if you bring to the blind spot blinking lights, that at least a third of the people get significant vision back. In my clinic, 80% of people got significant vision back. Okay? All right. Do you know how many muscles the body has?
A lot.
More than 600, 640. Most people use between 50 and 75 of them. And we use them with incredible amount of stress. And we overuse them. And in fact, in the gym, you learn to overuse the muscles you already use. You don't learn to use new muscles. And what you need to learn in life, in all phases of your life, even for an older guy like myself, we need to learn how to use muscles we never knew we even had. For example, like the toe muscles. Some people can play guitar with the toes, but most people can't even separate between the toes one by one, which affects the whole posture and creates a big problem. So quite often, we don't use most of the muscles available for us, okay? So, Jean, can you help us with time? Everybody stand up. Everybody except for Erik, because he injured his leg, right? Okay. He's laughing at me. Okay. So now, lift your leg up. And John, you can take some pictures if you want. A video of me, especially. Okay. Now you're going to hear me say a word or two in Hebrew, but that's for the video that I'm going to give to Facebook in Israel. Lift your leg up. Come on. I mean, I'm 68, right? Lift your leg up. What about the rest of you young people? We have 1 minute to do it, yeah? אני רוצה להגיד שאני מלמד את כולם להתעסק עם שירים שהם בכלל לא מכירים. Okay, that's it. So, lift it up, and Jean, give us an extra minute from this moment on. You can move your foot in rotating motion, but don't put your foot down. You can bend and straighten your knee if you're bored, but don't put it down, and don't be helped by the other chair, please. Very good. Higher, please, higher. Some of you really do it high. Come on, breathe deeply. Are you learning about some muscles you don't know you have? They don't get you to evolve them in the gym. They make you build big pectorals, which you already are overusing. They get you to build big biceps, which you already are overstraining. They don't get you to build muscles that you don't know you have. And by the way, breathing is not against the law, not yet. Not forward, sideways. There you go. I mean, we can do it forward another time. Right now it's sideways. Forward absolves you. And move your foot in rotating motion a little bit. So, Jean, tell us when the minute is over. Minute is up? Okay, good. Now, when you stand up, do you feel a difference between your two shoulders?
Yes.
So, there's more support to the whole area. With a group of cells which are called the proprioceptors, which I'm sure your professors will make sure that you know what they are. But basically, they show you how every part of the body is interconnected. Well, let's do exactly the other one.
Well, what was interesting for me, Meir, that for that moment I put my foot down, it felt like my leg that I previously lifted up was like a little home.
Exactly.
It was very interesting.
So up, my friends. With or without a hat. There's no sun here. I don't know why you need a hat. I'll move it up, up, up. Higher. Youngsters, higher. Look, he's in good shape as the rest of you. He's 76, 77?
78.
78. You youngsters, what is going to happen with you? Up. 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 Breathe deeply. No mercy here. Feel the pain and enjoy it. The pain in either leg. Come on. If you're going to put it down again, I'm going to do a collective punishment. We're going to do an extra minute for everybody. Up. 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 Peper is much nicer than his guests. Keep it up. Up. Up.
Okay.
Okay, down. Nice to step on the two legs, right? Pay attention to how the shoulders have rearranged themselves. Because truth of the matter is that you're supportive from down to up. Now, if I wasn't so chintzy with time, I couldn't do it. But I want you to understand a few things. You can have a seat right now. I feel kind of merciful to all those youngsters that have a hard time lifting the leg sideways, yeah? Anyway, so the importance of the principle of working on the back and on the body is to find the muscles we never knew we had, connect between the brain and those muscles, loosen up the muscles that we always overworked, and you have to understand that they overworked so much that the connective tissue hardened around them, and then integrate between them and create new neurological connection. So there will be a good integrity of all your muscles. From there, I want to talk about eye exercises. So the principles of eye exercises, can I get my phone back? The principle of eye exercises are, number one, deep relaxation of the eyes. And you can get all those principles in my literature and in our website. But the number one is deep relaxation. So whenever you look at anything, you look with great softness.